Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Perry Johnson Registrar's Food Safety 2022 Year in Review for the Cannabis and Hemp Division. My name is Brett McMillan. I'm the manager, and just wanted to say Happy New Year, and let's talk about what we saw in 2022 and what we're predicting is going to happen in 2023 based on current trends and what we've seen in the industry. Always like to start off these discussions with kind of a news of the day. And might as well dive into what we've seen at our home state of Michigan. The Michigan industry was off and running pretty strong over the last few years. As you can see through this graph, the amount of marijuana sold hit just about $1.8 billion in 2021 from $31.9 million in 2019. So, 2021. So coming through 2022 and waiting for these numbers to come out on final Michigan sales, the sales are up about 28% from 2021, but the prices have taken quite a dive, as you can see on this slide. Basically, an ounce was almost $350 a few years ago, and now it's down to about $95. And what does this mean? This means that products at the dispensaries are cheaper. The consumer is the big winner. And why is that happening? Because the market has basically been saturated. There's more supply than demand. There's more product out there than what the consumers are purchasing. We've seen this in other states. We always like to compare. In Colorado, recreational sales were down almost 20%. Medical sales were down about 47%. This is because of the COVID pot boom is seen to be over, according to quite a few folks in the industry in Colorado. And also the black market has become quite a situation and has been nationally since marijuana has been around, really. And that's also affected the wholesale prices in Colorado. Wholesale pound of marijuana has been approximately $660 a pound through 2022. And a year ago, that was as high as about $1,300 to $1,400 a pound. So with our friends in California, who we always like to also have as a baseline for discussion, their tax revenue is down approximately 5% this year off of marijuana sales, even though they had almost 304 million. It's also because of the pricing. So the pricing has been dropping, the black market has been diluting things, so obviously the tax revenue is not going to be as high as it has been in years past. However, California, like other states, has a huge black market problem, especially with oils and extraction scenarios being diluted into other products. We'll see what that brings in 2023, how each state that has this problem can up their enforcement and try to keep the black market in check, which probably will never go away, but can definitely be dealt with in different ways and definitely more in a more thorough manner, which can give more power to the licensees who are, paying all the money, doing the right thing, doing it by the book, and trying to keep their products safe. Other emerging states, Illinois had a big year, breaking 1.5 billion in sales. That's a 130% increase from 2020 when they started off and had 669 million in total. New York State launched its program, and New York State's slated to be the second biggest program in the nation behind California. Also, New Jersey is up and running and had over 178 million in sales during the third quarter of 2022 during its first full year. So things are looking up for the emerging states, a lot of them on the East Coast, for their programs. So the hemp market. Perry Johnson Registrar's Food Safety, we're also a certification body for good manufacturing practices, good agriculture practices, and also USDA organic. And the hemp market in 2022 has seen a drop in the amount of acres planted because of basically the supply over the last few years. There's just a lot of biomass on the shelves. There's a lot of oil on the shelves. And when I mean shelves, I mean wholesale. That just is not getting caught up with just yet. But information is still being vetted for industrial hemp, which is non-THC, non-consumption. And a lot of indicators are showing that industrial hemp acreage is up and uses are growing to compete with what other countries, especially in Europe, are dealing with. Automotive industries using hemp plastics, and getting caught up with the supply and demand situation. A lot of automakers in Europe use hemp and hemp products and plastics for their door panels, other items within the car. And US manufacturers are also doing their research to get caught up on this, especially for electric vehicles and situations where hemp and hemp-derived plastics can lower the weight. So hemp is also being used pretty heavily in the construction industry as insulation, fiberboard, and actual construction blocks that can be used in foundations and walls within houses. So I think in 2023, we're going to see a lot of increases in the creativity and the use of industrial hemp in a lot of products that can be recycled and used, that are energy conscious and can be recyclable within the industry. But like the business that Perry Johnson, Registrar's Food Safety, is in, regulation, certification, and especially good manufacturing practices, this is to help the safety of the products in the industry, not just CBD and hemp, but also for cannabis. And also why testing is so important, to have clean product on the shelves of dispensaries, to keep products safe from children. And there are a lot of recalls and situations that have been out there in the industry that any company does not want to get. Recalls can be a horrible thing for a company to deal with and can destroy a brand, cost shareholders a lot of money, and force a company to have to reinvent itself or even rename itself to get those products back on the shelves. All these things are available in the Google world. Different types of flower recall. These things are on TV. Anybody out there that's in the cannabis hemp space, really anything in the food safety space, cannabis or hemp, definitely needs to have a recall plan in place. Definitely needs to be able to do a mock recall. This is an example of what happened in Oregon. 18,000 vape cartridges were put out because of non-approved additives within the cartridges. This can really cost companies a lot of money. News releases coming out from different states talking about recalls, fees, litigation. Also right here, you can see that what happens with all this. Well, the sad thing is that this can get into the hands of kids, depending on how the products are marketed, depending on what state allows what type of packaging. And you can see right here that, you know, a young kid would not know any difference between a Starbuds or a Starburst or a Sour Patch or what have you. And 2 elementary students from California ate marijuana edibles thinking that they were just regular candy. Also in 2022, we saw a lot of interesting products, a lot of new takes on old things, some of which you may never try, but part of our review from 2022 is we wanted to talk about these. They're pretty fun, and also shed some light on what may be happening coming into 2023 with different Hollywood celebrities, musicians, and big name food brands and alcohol brands getting into the game of cannabis infused products. For instance, beverages. For instance, Pabst Blue Ribbon making a seltzer that's got 10% THC. We've seen other alcohol companies out there, Coors, Molson, other types of alcohol companies getting into infused beverages. Some of you may remember Mike Tyson and Evander Holyfield 25 years ago had the famous boxing match where Mike Tyson bit a chunk of Evander's ear off. And earlier in the year, we did another presentation about this and talked about Mike Tyson bringing an ear-shaped gummy to market, and we wondered about what would happen and what Evander Holyfield would think. And I can't make this up, folks. They're now called the Tyson Mike Bites. And as you can see, Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson worked out some kind of a deal to co-market this during the holiday season. And so just another example of celebrities and athletes getting into the cannabis market and being pretty creative in how they're getting those products out there. Another product we saw, cannabis-infused shrimp chips, or the spicy version if you'd like. Yes, and even Cannabis. If you don't want to deal with mayonnaise, you can get yourself some THC-infused mayonnaise. And finally, many of you are familiar with Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg also put out a cannabis-infused snack line based on his favorite snack, Funyuns, but they're calling them the Snazzle O's. And so I think we'll probably see more of these type snacks with endorsements from celebrities in the future. And that's why it's important to have a good manufacturing practices plan in place, because no celebrity or endorsement from an athlete wants to have something go wrong with their product if it's not made in a regulated and clean and consistent manner. So these are the things we've seen during 2022. What are we thinking about what we're going to see in 2023? Obviously, more regulation on products and processes. Definitely going to see further price drops in established states like we talked about in Michigan, Colorado, Washington, Oregon, kind of the Western states that got into the adult use rec market to start this. And then in the new states, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Illinois has been around but still growing. Those states we're going to see quite a bit of increased sales, at which point those markets are going to become saturated and probably see the microeconomics come into place with prices dropping on wholesale flower, which then turns into product price dropping on oils, cartridges, gummies, things like that. And I think we're also going to see some potential changes in federal law, maybe some changes in how marijuana is classified, possibly some bills coming through the House on regulating marijuana and having it be more mainstream, and also some mental health benefits, especially with what we've seen with the mainstreaming of mushrooms and psilocybin and how mental health can be affected in a positive way through those items. And as long as it's all done in a positive, regulated way with clean product, then hopefully we won't see, but I think we are going to see more lawsuits and more problems for brands with recalls, because now that the industry has a lot of money behind it and the industry has a lot of players and a lot of lawyers, that if kids or folks are getting sick or there's recalls, then unfortunately those lawsuits and those situations are going to happen. So thanks for tuning in, folks. Just a brief overview of what we've seen in 2023 and what we think 2023 is going to bring. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at PJRFSI or give us a call at 248-358-3388. Thank you.